back to Learning How. Today, we are going to be learning about Faith Ringgold. She was born October 8th, 1930 in Harlem, Manhattan, New York. Ringgold is still alive today. She is 90 years old. Ringgold was the youngest of 3 children, and she often had to stay home from school because of her severe asthma. Ringgold's mother helped her with her homework and showed her how to work with crayons, fabrics, and sewing. Her father helped her to learn to read and gave her an art easel. As an adult, Ringgold became a teacher, an art teacher, and a professor at the University of California, San Diego. When her mother died, she started to make quilts as a tribute to her mother. Quilts were very important to Ringgold's mother. Her name was Willie Posey, and she was a popular Harlem clothing designer, and she was a seamstress as well. She taught Faith, her daughter, the art of African American style of quilting. Susie Shannon was Ringgold's grandmother, and she also taught Faith Ringgold the art of African American style quilting. So she learned African American style quilting from both her mother and her grandmother. What a blessing. Today we are going to be studying Faith Ringgold's Peace Quilt. Ringgold and fabric artist Grace Matthews were commissioned to design and construct a special story quilt inspired by New York City's children. And so they had to create the images for a book called What Will You Do for Peace? So they designed these little story patches that would each go onto a quilt from each student. It would go into a quilt, and that was the quilt then was featured in the storybook, What Will You Do for Peace? So today we are going to make our own Thanksgiving quilt. And so we are going to each have a block on the quilt where we can show what we are thankful for. Each student is going to receive this nice sheet of sandpaper, and you are going to color heavily, very, very heavily with a crayon or whatever crayon colors you want to put on there, but you're going to color very heavily so that when we put this on a quilt and we're going to iron it, and then your crayons are going to transfer over to the quilt. Now I must remind you that whatever you design on here, when you turn it over and iron it, it's going to be backwards. So keep that in mind. So if you use words or letter, you got to make sure you write things backwards. You got to transpose it backwards, because when you turn it over, that is how it's going to appear. So really think about your image maybe through the paper, because that's how it's going to appear. So just make sure if you're spelling words, they don't come out backwards. But you don't have to use words at all. You can just draw a picture of whatever you were thankful for, but make sure you color it very, very heavily. Also, we're going to make sure we write everybody's name on the back of their paper, because I'm going to actually put them on the quilt at home, and it's going to be featured later in our school year. So we're going to hold on to that for something special later in the school year. So make sure that you write your name on the back so I know to which block each piece of sandpaper belongs to which student. But you're going to color very, very, very heavily with your crayons, and we're going to iron it onto a quilt for something very special later. Reggie, what are you thankful for?
I'm making a rocket ship.
You're thankful for rocket ships?
No!
What are you thankful for?
My iPad.
Nice. You did a really good job coloring very heavily. Look how. What are you thankful for?
You'll see.
Oh,
I gotta finish.
What are you thankful for?
A phone. Or phones.
All right, both Hudson and Richie done. Hudson is gonna put his on. This is Don't Touch the Iron, Richie. It's hot. We're gonna use a Daddy How old t-shirt, but for our class we'll use a quilt, but obviously I don't have an extra quilt to iron. So Hudson, go ahead and put it down.
Make sure you don't get burned.
All right, hands off, Reggie. Good girl. All right, iron it on. It's gonna keep it on for a nice long while.
I picture it to Daddy, okay? For me, okay?
Hudson, let's see if yours is transposed. All right, are you move your hand? Because it's very hot. Let's see. There's Hudson's iPad. That's cool.
I'm ready.
Do this one. There's Richie's rainbow. Good job, Rich. Josiah's turkey. That's really nice looking, buddy.
Okay. Oh, it like bleached it.
Because the crayon came off. Here's James ironing his. Here's his walkie-talkie.
It was supposed to be a phone, but then I made a mistake, so I turned it into a walkie-talkie.
Well, that's a good improvisation.
Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you guys can join us. Stay tuned. See you guys later. Bye!